Bob Huber, Vintage Lambo. We have a idler arm for a early car. So front engine car prior to the Spada, this is what the idler arm would be. Now, what seems to be unusual but is not is that they welded a pad right here so that when this is your steering stop. So when we come all the way out to here, so it would stop at this particular point. So that's how they did the adjustment when they got it all together. Now these are low production cars. I don't know how much of this is off the shelf that we're looking at, but that's just the way it is. There's a roll pin through here. There's a shaft that goes through here. It rides here and here on some type of a bushing. We'll find out what they're doing on this when we take it apart. The rubber seals right here. This is cracked, that's cracked. So what we want to try and do is we want to make sure that the movement on this thing is very, very little, and we don't want any slop. And so we're going to be doing that, and we want it to rotate smoothly all the way from this side to the other side. So that's what we'll be doing here, and I will get back to you as we progress. Cleaned off this cap here. You can see the factory had this yellow on here. This has been spray painted over at one time in its life to doll it up. Well, let's see how we can do this. You can get maybe a visual of it, but essentially using a tool here that is used for a lot of the dent repair, but I think in this case it might work out pretty good. In fact, I know it works out pretty good. So anyway, all right, that's good enough. Let's see here. You wear your safety gear. Okay, let's take a look. Now I'm gonna put this guy on. Let's see if I can get this on here. Didn't even have to really pull it. Look at that. It just came right off. Whoa. That was quite amazing. It wasn't held on there with hardly anything. But you can see that we have some corrosion in there. I'll just zoom in a little bit. Let's see if we can see this. All right. So we got some corrosion going on. So I'll do the other side and then take this out. You know, a lot of this is, you know, kind of really gritty grease. Let's put it that way. I'll be nice about it. Okay, we need to take this pin out. So let me just take this out because you're not going to see it visually, but this area here has more space than here to here. So I have to come from this side to be able to get the pin to clear out. So I'm going to just sort of clamp this down. It's just not going to be a real good visual for you. That's all. So what I'm going to do is, it's not the best angle here, and I might have to use something else. So as it goes through, I'm going to have to get a smaller pin and hit it on the side because there's no clearance for some reason. Let me put you on hold. So now I'm going to be hitting it on one side here, but I've already got it moving, so I'm pretty happy about that. In fact, I'll be kind of nice here and give it a little of my jungle juice here, some Croil. If I can get it to squirt right. And hopefully that'll help it through. But this is going to be a little bit of a Dickens. So the farther I push it through, then the less resistance. And we'll just try and see how we can get this in without getting this unit here stuck in here. Like that. So we're down there pretty good. Let me see if I can do a little bit of an angle here. Let me see how much space I have. Ooh, really not much space right now. So with it down like this, then I need to get this shaft out, and then I can finish off taking the pin out of the arm. Well, I can still go some more, so I'll try and do a little bit more. It should come through. I shouldn't doubt it. I shouldn't doubt it like that. Bad boy, bad boy. Let me just try and work it without this thing getting stuck. Now let's see what the clearance is down there. Everything is tight, tight, tight. Everything about this is tight, tight, tight. So now we have to then push this pin out, and then from that point, then this can come out. So you can already tell that this pin has to be partially installed before we can put this back together. So it's the way it goes. Okay, so we need to get this pin out of here, and it's pressed in here as far as a very tight fit, and obviously with time things have probably rusted a little bit in place. Now there is a bushing in here, looks like nylon in here, so I don't want to disturb that. I mean, if it's going to be good, I'm going to reuse it. If not, I'll be replacing it, but we want to try and take things apart so we don't destroy it. So I measure this, seems to be about 16. I have to have a shaft that is less than 16, but I have to make sure that I don't interfere with this bushing. So I have a piece of 16 millimeter from McMaster. This is really nice material. It machines really well. Has a little bit of lead in it so that it does a nice finish on machining. So we're going to use this. Now I'm going to, with this center hole here, I'm going to be able to center this shaft into here. I'm going to turn it down slightly, so of course it's not 16 millimeter, it's going to be a little bit less, and then it's going to be centered when I put it into the hole, so that when I put this on, then I can press it down and I won't disturb it, the bushing, and I won't get it stuck inside here. So that's the plan. So we're going to do a little bit of lathe work on this one. Oh, change the plans here. You know what? I had some 5/8 really nice precision shafts, same material as this, but since it's 5/8, it's a slight bit smaller, so I don't have to machine the diameter at all. I just have to put in a locating center on this. So let's make it easier, huh? Let's do that. All right, we're going to just do some machining on the shaft so it centers into that pin. So no big deal. I'm just going to go in like 10 millimeters. And then I'm going to go in about 7 3/4, something like that, because it's 8 millimeters. You know, I can just take some rough cuts here, not a big deal. But I just love how this steel cuts. It really cuts well, and considering I just have a a low-powered lathe here, it's a nice lathe, but you just have to go slow, and you'll get good results. But if I can help it out by, if I'm going with steel, I love this particular from McMaster. You can kind of look it up. I forget exactly what it's called, 12 something or who knows what. But if you read in on all the materials they offer, you'll see what's going to be the best material for you. Now I'm just going to eyeball a slight taper on this. I just want to make sure that I don't disturb at all that bushing that's in it. So If everything's good, I'll just keep that bushing material in there. If it's not, I'll replace it. But you know, there's no sense in trying to disturb something that's good. So I'm just eyeballing a slight taper on this. And so let's see what we can do. Okay, so I'm going to bring this in a little bit. Okay, and then I'll do a little bit of a cut here. All right, that should do me pretty good, but I'll just do a little finishing touches with this fine file just to make sure any type of burr is gone. I already did a little bit on the front nose piece here. So now before I take it out, I'm going to bring the part and make sure that it fits in there before I go to the trouble of taking it out of here, because we're already set up. And even though this is a collet, things can change if you put something in and out. So let's see if we can put you on a slight hold here. I'll be right back. All right, let's see. I don't know. I really don't know. So we're going to try and see if she'll fit inside this hole here. And ooh, it's a little bit snuggy wuggy. So I guess I didn't quite get this down enough. I put a little bit more clearance on there, so it's good what we just did. I'll be back in a second. Okay, it's good. I did that because I double checked my figures here, and I made a poor assumption that this was 8mm, but it was actually 7.8. And here I go putting on just about that on this. So it's like almost spot on, but that's not what I want. I want this to have a little bit of clearance. So anyway, the good part is that I didn't take off too much material. So now at least I have something to work with instead of kind of starting over, which would have been not good. And I'll double check everything on this thing, that's for sure. So I just have to take a hair off. So that's pretty much how we're going to gauge this thing. I'm going to touch it. Okay, so I'll just try this first. And we'll just fine tune it in. And I do the back pass also. It works out good for me. You know, sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't, but in this case I want to make sure I keep my measurements just right. And if I go here and then I release it, come back, then you know I'm starting over again. So it just makes sense for me to do what I'm just backtracking, and I don't notice any problem. Okay, so I think I'm pretty good now. 1/10 of a millimeter it's showing. Maybe I have clearance. So let's see what we have here. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. So I like that, and we'll go with it. So anyway, now it's off to the press and see if this might just come out. I'm put a little of my croil inside here to try and get it in here a little bit to work that pin, but hopefully we don't need heat. So let me sight this in. Hopefully psych myself in. How about that? Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Oh. Not trying to be dramatic here. This little guy here was Just stuck onto the shaft a bit. Oh, I knew that was going to happen. So you can see rust on this shaft. Okay, this is spinning. That's good. That's good. Not that I really wanted to check that out, but I'm checking it out now. Not the best on this for angle wise for me to clamp down on, but hopefully it's almost there. So let's see where we at right here. Can't see a darn thing, right? Gotcha. All right, I'm going to lower this a little bit. All right, we're back from the fiasco here. We see that things are a little bit rusty, and it is coming through. So I've adjusted this, so hopefully I don't interfere with anything else, and I can get this to come through and catch it on the fly when it falls apart. Okay, it's still an ornery little thing here, but we're coming through. We're coming through. All right, we got her out, and this comes out. Woohoo! So at least I did that figuring out right. See the rust on there and everything like that. So we'll take this thing apart. Probably should do it on the table naturally, but anyway, so you can see that we're going to have to install this pin in slightly before we can put this thing back together. Let's go back to the desk. All right. So what we got here? What we got here? So I'm happy with the tool. Essentially, if you want to work on older cars, you need a lathe and a milling machine. And like I get by with my 10-inch lathe, 99% of the time. And here we have our shaft. I'll do a real good cleanup on this, and hopefully I can get the residual off, and that it'll be okay. Let's see if I can. This has a lot of rust here, so I'll see about if I can reuse this instead of having to go and make a new one. Now on this guy here, we have these seals that are cracked, and let's see what we have here. So we have this bushing, and it's probably black nylon, and I'll see how it does when I clean it up and I measure it out and see what we have on clearance. Once this is all cleaned up and I have this in here without the rubbers, I'm going to measure and see how much side play I have on that. So again, we have another one right here. And so I'll do a real good clean on these things. I'll put it through the ultrasonic machine, make sure no cracks, and then we'll do a big measurement on it. So there you have it, disassembly of the idler arm on the early vintage front engines before the Espada. The Espada has a little bit of a larger one than this, so we're going to go with, we're doing the early car stuff this time. All right. Well, please, if you like what you see here, this is going to be part one, and then I'll come back after everything is all cleaned up, all made up nice, and we'll put her back together.